Hello there! The second stress test for Mortal Online 2 has started today, and it's going about as well as you'd expect for some of the players right now. But in the last few days leading up to this stress test, I've seen a lot of players asking all sorts of questions in the help chat about how things work in the game, and I figured I'd throw together a quick video to hopefully answer some of those questions as simply as I can while I have nothing better to do because, you know. But with that out of the way, let's move on to some of the questions. If you want to get into basic, the most bare bones and cheapest weapon crafting possible for melee weapons, you need 5 skill books. You need crafting weapons, crafting blunt weapons, crafting blunt heads, crafting handles, and crafting one-hand shaft handles. This will basically unlock everything you need in the crafting window to make one-handed maces. And the cheapest way to make these is with a bone tissue core. For their grip, you want to use leathers or textiles because you have to use those now. So full grain leather, quality leather if you can. If you're a human, you can use some human skin for the grip, that works pretty well. And for the head, also use bone tissue. If you're going into bladed weapons and need something cheap, maybe try emulge, but that's all I'll get into for now. Same question, but this time for bows. You need 4 skills to do the bare minimum for bow crafting. You need bowery, decurve bow mechanics, self-bow composition, and short bow crafting. And the easiest and cheapest material to craft these with is also bone tissue. They won't be very good, but they're better than a lot of the basic woods for some reason. And also you could use a mulch for a short bow if you feel like it. I think that'll also up the strength requirement and damage up a bit. However, if you do want to get into archery, I do recommend also skilling into long bow crafting so you can make better bows. Now, I haven't been able to log on to the stress test, so this could theoretically be fixed. But as of the last time I played, the flatbow mechanic book cannot be found. They didn't have a model in the game before, so they probably just didn't include it for the stress test. But that does, however, mean you won't be able to craft recurve bows, unfortunately. Which does suck, because those are pretty good. Currently, you cannot craft arrows. There is no fletchery in the game. If you want to get arrows, go buy them from a utility vendor. Bodkins are cheap trash. Broadheads are like your good all-around arrows, and if you're using a longbow, go for longbow arrows, is how it works as far as I'm aware. Getting into armor crafting is slightly more expensive than weapon and bow crafting. To craft armor, you will need the armor crafting book, the armor crafting soft armors book, and the Calardian padded book, which will cost you a whopping 1 gold, 10 silver for the lot of them. And the easiest material to make this armor out of is just leather, or human skin if that's available to you. It's not very good, but as a starter armor, it's pretty helpful. It'll let you kill bandits pretty easily. I've only seen a few shield questions be asked, but a few people have asked how you make kite shields. I bought the kite shield book. There's currently no kite shields in the game, so if you buy that book, it's not going to actually do anything. Just don't waste your money, even though I don't think it's that expensive, actually. And the last crafting skill I'll answer some questions about is I've seen many people asking about cooking. Cooking is very cheap and easy to get into. All you technically need is the cooking book itself from a normal librarian. 10 silver, that's it. However, I do highly recommend buying a turnspit and a cooking pot to do your cooking in, because if you don't use cooking tools for cooking, it'll just turn into like raw mush, And while a lot of people did eat that in Mortal Online 1, let's try to be a little more civilized now and actually eat properly. Thank you. And if you can't figure out how to start cooking, you want to open up your skill window, go to the Professions tab, and you will see a text line that says Show All Skill Icons. You click that, and then drag the cooking pot icon onto one of your hotbars. You hit that, it opens up cooking. You can put your tool in, you put your food in. You're golden. Congratulations, you can cook. And I'll just add this at the end of the crafting section. The place I've been getting all of my materials at for all of this cheap, janky crafting is I've been going to graveyards and killing the Walking Dead and taking their carcasses and butchering them to get their bone tissue and emulge. Their heads are also a decent way to get some early starting cash to buy some of your skill books if you need them. If you need leather and you're out by Fabrinum or Tindrem, there are like domesticated pigs that are outside of the towns that you can kill that are pretty easy to get. They don't run away until you start hitting them, and they don't have much health. But they're also around guards a lot of the time, so the guards might kill them, and if that happens, they won't drop anything. Your other option is running out into the wilderness and killing bush pigs or springbuck, but those run away, and if you're using like a plinky garbage bow, that could take a lot of arrows to take them down. So the way I've avoided this is by using human skin instead of leather. If you're a human, you can just put all of your items in a bank, go to a priest, and do a suicide. And after you revive, you can take your own carcass and your head. Probably just throw your head away unless you want to eat it or something, but that's weird. And then butcher that up, and there you go, human skin. Okay, now moving on from crafting. A lot of people have been asking, how do I cast magic? Why can't I cast spells? My spellbook is empty. What you need to cast spells, bare minimum again, is you need the Magic Schools book, you need the Ecumenical Spells book, and you need a basic spellbook, which does not come from a librarian, it comes from a magic vendor, and this costs 1 gold. This is the bare minimum to cast magic. Look at mental training and its children skills for future skills to get into to make your spellcasting better. And also, if you need water to start off casting spells, you can gather it from ponds and lakes and rivers. Basically, if it's anything you can swim in, it'll probably work as a gathering source. Not all of the bodies of water in the game currently work like that yet, so those ones you probably won't be able to gather from. And one last thing for magic, if your spellbook is empty for some reason, just try relogging. That's fixed it for everyone I know who had the problem. I didn't have the problem myself, so I can't say if it does work, but everyone who's tried it has reported that it did work, thankfully. And these are 2 questions I see fairly often, so I'll just lump them together. How do you heal? How do you rest? The easiest way to heal is to rest, and the way you can rest is by opening up your skill window, this time going to the Action Skills tab. Once again, you have to click on the Show All Skill Icons text on the screen, and then you can drag the resting person icon onto one of your hotbars, hit that, and you will begin resting. Another way you can heal if you're in combat and cannot sit down for some reason is you can buy bandages from the utility vendor. However, you will need to buy the anatomy skill book from a regular librarian, which which costs 2 gold and 50 silver, so a little expensive for a new player maybe. And when you use a bandage, it will put your weapon away in the middle of combat. You will play a short animation of your character wrapping a bandage around that arm. At that time you cannot attack, but you can still keep moving to keep away from the badman or whatever is chasing you. And the last way I'll talk about healing is there's obviously magic. There's 2 healing spells, Lesser Heal and Greater Heal. You can use these to heal yourself. You can use this skill to heal other players. You can use it to heal other players' pets. You can use it to heal your enemies if you have really bad aim. So you might want to be careful where you point that spell, otherwise you might end up making the situation a little worse. And just to mention it, there is another way to heal. You can make healing potions. However, I am not the person to ask, even remotely, how to craft potions. The only thing I ever used potions for in MO1 was to make my dyes. I have no idea how you'd even begin to make them heal you. Many people have asked what they need to tame animals or why they can't tame things when they already have taming. You need 3 skills to get started taming. You need domestication, you need taming, and you need creature control. Taming and creature control each cost 2 gold and 50 silver, so that's going to be 5 gold you're going to have to shell out. If you're just starting out, you might want to go farm some other things and get an easier way to make money before you go into taming, especially since it's not really worth it at the moment. Once you have the taming skill, to actually tame a creature, you have to walk up to it, and a prompt will show up when you're very close that'll say, hold R to tame by default, I have mine bound to E. And you just have to hold that down the whole time, and if it says it fails, and you look in your pet window and you don't have a pet, but the pet's following you like it did work, just relog and that should fix it, and then you can try taming it again. If you want to know how to raise your pet's loyalty, you accomplish this by feeding the pet. If its hunger is under 500, it will slowly gain loyalty. If its hunger is over 500, or every time you give it a command, it will lose loyalty. If you have a horse or any other herbivore, if you're wondering what you should feed your pet, normally the best things to feed your pet would be cooked food of a type of food they like, but currently I have tested several different recipes with many different plants, and unfortunately you haven't been able to feed any of them to pets so far, so right now we have to use raw food, and the best raw food I have found for herbivores is rye. It seems to do the best at getting their hunger down, but if you're in the city and you need something that you can get there, you can just buy a metric ton of dial and feed that to them, and that should get their hunger down. And if you're in the wilderness and you see wolf brush, you can gather that and feed it to them. But wolf brush's effects raw aren't that good at the moment, so you'll need quite a lot to actually get the hunger down. And I think that's about it for all the major questions. There are some quick ones I can go over really quick though. A lot of people have asked where the butcher table in Tindrem is. If you walk into the city and look east to the stables, the butcher table is behind the stables in between 2 vendor stalls. And also, if you want to know where all the vendors in Tindrem are, they are also all basically behind the stables along with the butcher table. And if you're in Tindrem and you need to know where the crusher or the grinder is, basically look north towards the colossi at the foot of the palace, and if you go to the foot of the western colossi, you will find a grizzly, a crusher, a grinder, and a hearth. As of the last patch, there is now a map for Haven, just Haven. You make a character there, you will start with this map. I also think you can buy it at a vendor. And it won't tell you where you are on the map, but you can use it to help navigate and whatnot. And once you've left Haven, if you still want a map for the rest of Muirland, I will leave a link in the description for the most popular player-made map that's out right now. You could also technically use old MO1 maps. They can give you an idea of where things are, but they're not really accurate anymore. And if for some reason anyone wants the map I've made that I showed you where the Rye is, I guess I could upload that. No, currently fishing is not in the game. Technically, I haven't seen anyone ask how to do emotes, but I have seen a lot of people typing emotes into the help chat. Currently, to do emotes in the game, you have to type them in the local chat. You can go into local chat by typing /s/l or /local, and if you want a list of all the emotes in the game, you can type /emote list. And every time you type an emote, you have to type /emote space the emote. And two quick things to add that I haven't really seen asked much, but I have a feeling some people might want to know. You can leave help channel now if you want to, because it's filled with spam or people complaining or having stupid fights or whatever. By going into settings, going into the chat tab, and disabling help chat. You can re-enable it later if you actually need help and need to get some information, but you can turn it off if you don't want to see all of that. And also in the settings, there is now a can become criminals option. You cannot attack other players with this setting disabled. So if you want to go around murdering people, gotta click this and turn it on. They added this basically to prevent a griefing tactic called blue blocking, where somebody would jump in front of you as you're swinging your weapon at, say, an undead to get you criminal flagged so that they can kill you without repercussion, or to get the guards to kill you. It's basically like insurance fraud. Well, that's all I had for you today. I hope I was able to answer some questions you might have maybe had. I don't know. And if you want a more specific explanation about one of the things I went over, feel free to leave a comment asking about it, and I'll try to answer it as best I can, though I'm not really an expert on the mechanics of this game. So do beware, the information I give might be somewhat faulty. And with that, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I guess I'll see you next time.